This is a shapes quiz. This is just a little update on something. I'm proud of how everybody can slow down and starting at an early age. So this is a shapes quiz. Like, hey, what could be the face of a cube? Okay, good. And then the kid gets, 100% on it, of course. But it's an example of how we learn to slow down and contain what we want to be solving is way out here in the realm of what's possible. But from an early age, we learn to just stay in this little thing and just kind of stay on pace with each other. The kid who was given a shapes quiz and told good job for finding the cube against the sphere or the rectangle. Just yesterday, we saw a movie that had people speaking Spanish, and he said, you know what, I think that I wouldn't confuse Spanish with other languages. I said, no. He said, no, the girl he was playing with is from Pakistan, and he heard her talking to her parents, and he heard Arabic, and he said, no, it's not like the different words. He's like, it's the style of speech. It's the style that they talk in. I wouldn't confuse Spanish for another language. And I said, oh, okay. And then he said, hey, Dad, why do kids say that Spanish is the most significant other language in the United States? And I said, well, number one, how big is the sample you're talking about? Was it really just one or two kids, or do you think kids everywhere say that same thing? He goes, it was just one or two kids. I said, okay. So that's not a very big sample. We don't know if really kids widespread say that Spanish is the most significant other language. I said, but there's a case for it. The country touching the United States is literally Mexico, and they speak Spanish there. And all the countries that touch that primarily speak Spanish. So there's a case to be said for it. It is pretty significant here because it's a bordering country. Then he says, why do they speak Spanish in Mexico? I said, well, kind of the same reason we speak English in the United States. He said, oh, because people from Spain went there. And I said, yeah, they established it and made some things, cultural changes there. And he said, did they have an argument? Same thing. I was like, yeah, they had a battle at some point. Probably against Spain to not be Spain anymore, but to be Mexico. He said, an argument or a war? I said, I don't know. Could be either one. It's probably a war. And he was done talking about this, but he said, it was probably called the Spanish-Mexican War. Probably. And then we just continued watching the movie. But the guy who's thinking about this, and as an example of what we do, he has to slow down at school, and he has to be okay, here's a square, here's a cube, here's a circle, here's a sphere. And we all do that, and give yourself a pat on the back, because there's a lot of things to think about and wonder how we all connect together. But we do a good job of just playing nice when we just contain ourselves and think in that box. All right, that's the update.